Righty guys, demo number 2 here is going to be Agile 3RM. What we'll do first is have a look at the actual sales side of things first, and then get into the other bits and pieces. So we're just sort of comparing apples with apples. This would be the dashboard screen of the sales, so I can see activities which are coming up today and yesterday. I can see different goals information, all my key metrics. I can see other key people's statistics in the team and all of that sort of stuff, so I can see how the group's performing. I can see a sales funnel going on here for myself, revenue graphs. I can see number of calls that are going in and out, and all of this is configurable via what they call these dashlets. It's something I haven't explored much, but you can see, data about your emails which are being opened, your contact lists, graphs, deals. Everything is really quite configurable on that home screen. What we're going to generally find with Agile CRM is that it's a little bit, well, I personally think it's a little bit less cleaner in their user interface, but it's also very configurable. So, I mean, that's pretty typical, really, when you think about all bits of software that are out there. We come to a contact screen. Here I've got my list of contacts. I can go and filter these by all sorts of things and all that sort of stuff. So I can try and manipulate that. If I go and have a look at someone, I'm probably the most detailed person there, so I'll just go and search for Shannon. And there's Shannon. It's going to open up a screen here about Shannon. And then what we're going to have in here is a whole bunch of different ways that I can view information. Here I can see a timeline about activity that I've had with this person. I can call from right in the screen via a VoIP service Twilio, which is very cost effective. And from there I can actually play any calls which have been recorded with the person, and that information gets logged here on the screen. I see basic information at the side, any useful tags, basic contact info. From here I can press the call button. We've got things like notes that we can add to the system here and see a record of them. We can see any events which might be coming up, any tasks related to the person, any deals related to the person. Campaigns is a useful one. What we can do from campaigns is I can trigger automatically an automation process here going on with the person. So I could say add Shannon to a campaign, and that would be, say, a new user campaign who hasn't joined yet. And I could click that, and from there we could send him a text message, for argument's sake, just by moving that person to a completed campaign. We could create a campaign for, say, follow-up 12 months later for anybody who we've lost, and that could put them into some sort of automation process. We'll talk about more about that in a second. There's a final tab over here called Web. There's no activity here at the moment, but the idea going on is particularly for people who come in as leads via the website, we can actually see information about pages that they've visited on the website recently. We see mail information, so we can see a list of all emails which are related to Shannon, which have been put in the system. We can attach any documents going on there. I don't have any loaded into the system, and I believe there's a Google Docs integration there, but I'm not quite sure on that one, as there is with Prosperworks as well. And we've also got the added bonus of being able to see tickets here as well, because this system's got a built-in support system going on. More about that later. Here we've got a managed widgets here, and we can add in more widgets which I can access on my contacts user interface. We can put in Zendesk history and all of that sort of stuff if we want to continue using Zendesk. Insert Xero information into the side, various social media integrations, more stuff going on there. Companies is a similar idea in process to the other one. We've just got a list of companies, and you can see company information going on there as well. I actually messed up the import here, so we can't see any of our existing stuff. But you get things like business address, any tags, and then you start to see, again, related deals, notes, events, contacts with that person as well. Over here in the Deals tab, we've got another similar sort of drop and drag interface here on the pipeline. We can trigger automations to happen when a deal is moved around the place. I can go and have a look at a deal in detail. And again, this similar sort of method here, I'm going to see activities, notes, documents, relationships with other companies and people, any tasks that are related to it, and events as well. I've got a calendar just like the other one's got a calendar. I've got a list of tasks. Here I've got a whole bunch of tasks. I see these in a bit of a view going on here. One nice feature of this one is there's an online calendar. So you can include this in the bottom of your signature. And if I click on that, I can see a calendar sort of widget there. So I can have people who I want to have a meeting with. They can just go and pick a calendar 15-minute meeting on the calendar and actually self-serve themselves to make a booking, which I think is quite a nice little sort of little feature there, and that's configurable by every staff member, so they can say when they're generally available or not. And this all syncs in with Google Calendar, Google Docs, and all of that sort of stuff, and a whole bunch of little notices and other things that we can configure here. We have a variety of activity timelines here that we can have a look at, and then finally we get down into the report section. So report section, we can have a look and get information on any deals that are coming into the system. We could look at deals lost by reason, revenue by source, again sales, forecasts. We can see rep performance. I can't access all of these at the moment because I haven't paid for it. You can send reports automatically via email, get growth graphs, and drill down into your actual specific salespeople and get information about their individual performance, how many calls they've made, etc., etc. Let's just go back over here and we'll explore email functionality first. Let's have a look at email functionality from within the system. If I go over here and if I click on mail, I can actually send email directly from the system. Here, if I talk to Michael Jordan, I'd have a list of emails. I can click on send email, and right from within the CRM, I could send an email if I wanted to. The email will automatically be inserted from the person. I could select a pre-configured template, and that pre-configured template would insert a heading, automatically insert their name and the text underneath it, and then you could just click send. Again, we've got call tracking. That call tracking appears over on the contact as well. So that's email from within the system. Now, if we have a look at something like their email their Gmail integration, they take quite a different approach to Gmail, where ProsperWorks filled up the right-hand side with information. These guys actually fill out information via the underneath people. So if I was to have a look at Clint for argument's sake, then down the bottom of Clint's email here, I will see Clint here is listed as being an Agile. So if I just click search, and then in there I could instantly add in a note. I could create any tasks or see any tasks which might be there for that person. I could also start a campaign directly from in the email as well. Here's just another way that we could add information there too. I could add a meaningful tag right there, or I could also adjust the lead score. More about that in a second. Two very different approaches. It's a little bit less cluttered on the right-hand side, which I think is nice, and having it down there is quite good. I guess what I enjoy least about Agile's approach is I see less rich information about the person, maybe their social media profiles and other things like that, that other sort of open information that I could otherwise see with ProsperWorks. So I think that they're a little bit better at doing that kind of stuff. That's not to say that you couldn't install Reportive still and have that information at your hands. But conversely, where these guys win is that, well, here, right from within the email and all that sort of stuff, I could select a sales template, which would automatically fill out the information, would have it formatted with my brand if I wanted to, and it would collect all the bits and pieces that I need, and track the clicks and all of that sort of stuff too. So two different approaches there. Prosper works better from a social point of view. Agile CRM better because it's got templates is really the winner there at the end of the day. Probably Agile CRM has got the better ability for you to actually live within the CRM and not leave, as opposed to ProsperWorks, which is going to be very Gmail centric in how it's approached. Right, so that's basics of the sales side of Agile CRM. What we've also got is got extra functionality here of service and marketing. So if we have a look at marketing here, I can see all sorts of things about email opening stats from within this system. I can actually send mass branded emails as a replacement for MailChimp. So when somebody opens up a marketing email, we would see that activity within the person's contact history, which is pretty cool stuff. They've got integrated forms going on within their system. They've got social media monitoring, which I haven't turned on, but they've basically got a social media management suite within the CRM. We can send push notifications to the web browser, not to the mobile phones, but to the web browser. If we want to set up that, we get to see activities going on for various people on the website. There's a whole bunch of marketing reports going on here as well, which look very similar to the sales reports, to be fair. We get to see information about visitors on the site and what they've been doing. That's contact activity on the website, which is quite cool. But where we get really powerful is we start looking at campaigns. Campaigns are this idea where I can basically create automated activities based on people's way that they engage with us as a brand, and this can all be timed, and it's sort of based on if then else scenarios. So, for example, if somebody starts out and gets added to a campaign as a new user, we come in as a new user, we assign them a lead score. Then after they've been assigned a score, we add a task here. The task that we've added here, for example, is we've said that a follow-up task should be created due in 1 day. The contact's owner will be assigned this task, for argument's sake. And we could add in other tasks, like, if they have opened up an email, we could add that into the system. After 1 day that they've opened up the email, then what we're going to do is say after we've added a task to follow up, we sent them a follow-up email, for argument's sake. In the event that that person hasn't opened up an email, we could say, let's go and send them an email, and that email is all pre-populated and formed out. I'll just say, just following up again. Let's say we'll save that. Text, please complete this field. I'm just going to dummy content in there. We'll click on save. Send email. So in the event that they haven't opened up the first email, we're going to send them a second email. In the event that they have opened that email, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign another task here, and that task is going to be follow up on interest from last email sent. Click on save. We're going to have that due in 0 days. I'm going to put that here. And so the salesperson could effectively be given a task, which is in the event that they open up the email, then maybe they're really, really interested. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a task to follow up, and that person might start the phone call by saying, oh, hey, just wondering if you'd opened up that email that I sent you. Yeah, cool. Whole bunch of other stuff you can do here. You can set conditions. You can add a deal based on them filling out a form. You could transfer to another agent based on their lead score. So if they were to immediately say, sign up as a new user, we might put them in a pipework where Catherine deals with them. If they immediately sign up to a new channel, we could transfer the owner of the contact to, say, Nikki, and Nikki could qualify this. We can run all sorts of JSON scripts, and look, there seems to be, I can't add an extra one here because I'm at my campaign limit, but there's a ton of extra automations that we can add here which makes it really, really powerful. Over here, we've got various web rules, which are running on the back of scripts and all of this sort of stuff. And what we can do is we can make really, really neat pop-ups come onto the website, all from within this system. So at the moment I use a third-party piece of software to make pop-ups come on the website. This comes with pop-ups out of the box, so we can try and get sign-ups, and those sign-ups go directly into the CRM. You know, there's informational pop-ups. We can schedule a meeting, and they can press a button to schedule a meeting. We can have in-website user surveys. We can have a call button, and they can call directly from the website. We can make support pop-ups come up as well. I don't know where it is in here, but somewhere there's a live chat widget as well, so we can actually make live chat widgets come up. We can make landing pages directly from within the website, forms. We've got a whole email template section here. We've got widgets that we want to have coming up within the page. Just a shit ton of other stuff. Hey, finally, let's just quickly look at service. I haven't had a really good look at this one, but on the service side of things, basically, it's got an integrated help desk within the system, so people can, with this system, create we can have a support email. A support email would create a ticket. That ticket would be assigned to a customer who's in the CRM. So now salespeople get an idea of any support interactions which may be happening. We've got canned responses here, so you know, hey, thanks for emailing. We'll be in touch within the next 24 hours. We can populate a knowledge base going on here, track views of tickets. View various activities which are relating to all of this support activity. And then same thing over here in our reports, we've got service reports as well. So we can have a look at our ticket priorities. Are they being answered? We can put in SLAs and all of that sort of stuff. And we can use these interactions here to create automations as well. So for example, after a support ticket is being closed, we could send an email saying, you know, how do you like this feature? Now, one thing I didn't deal with in the previous one was apps. There are mobile apps for both Agile CRM and ProsperWorks. ProsperWorks is very simple, very stripped down, feels very much like a native Google experience, particularly on an Android phone. It's very, very simple. It's very, very beautiful. Agile CRM feels like it's effectively the whole entire Agile CRM application in an app. On the pro side there, you've got access to effectively everything in the CRM from an app on your phone. On the minus side, I feel like it's probably a little bit too complex. I wouldn't need to use all of these features from my telephone, and I'd probably be grateful just to have my contacts on there and the ability to add a note. But instead, I get the whole entire functionality of the CRM. Look, I don't think that's a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. Some might see it as a bonus. I actually don't know how much salespeople are going to ever use their use CRM on their phone, except to maybe prep before going into a meeting, for argument's sake. But imagine with Agile CRM, you walk out of that meeting, just as you're walking out the door, you could trigger a follow-up from a campaign to that person as you're walking out the door. And by the time they get back to their office, they could have a follow-up email there. So you can do some pretty cool things. So look, that's my 2 evaluations. You guys are going to have usernames and passwords made. Get in there, have a play. If you don't like either of the systems, we can go back to the drawing board. I've got another 4 options, which are all going to be very similar. Otherwise, decision on how to move forward would be great. Cheers.